Kia ora koutou, haere mai ngā Puna Wai Oto Tahi. Hello everyone and welcome to the Puna Wai Sport Complex here in beautiful Christchurch, Aotearoa, New Zealand. You're joining us for the Division 2 Women's Final here in the 2023 New Zealand Ultimate Championships. As your eyes and ears on the ground, my name is Kelsey Bielik.
And I'm Richard Harris, and we apologise for a late start. We've just watched an absolutely amazing Div 2 Men's Final, which I recommend everyone take a look and watch. Fun times to be had.
On the field here, we're watching this rumble between the North Island and South, this final between Blueberries, running down in white on the left side of your screen, hailing from Auckland, and the Christchurch Spring Chickens. They're in teal and turquoise. And coming down on the right side, a missed shot from the furious Blueberries from Auckland there, resulting in a turnover. We have Franson picking up on offense, initiating the Spring Chickens' first offense opportunity. Sione Royal out of the stack with an ankle-breaking cut, initiating, and a beautiful swing to Cooper.
Oh.
Kessins cleans up the disc, finds Lenky in the middle of the field. And you know, Richard, one thing that I'm really excited about with the Spring Chickens team versus Blueberries in this finals, we have two such different teams. Oh, inside-out shot, finding Brown in the end zone, and that is a break. The first point on the board for Spring Chickens.
Great little start, great little run. Just got the benefit of the wind for the turn, then turned it around, worked it out of the stack beautifully, came up the side to score. Spring Chickens off to a flyer.
And you know, one thing that I was saying, I've been really excited for this matchup because, you know, the National Championships bring clubs the opportunity to play against each other, clubs that might not normally, you know, play against each other. And we're seeing two teams here for whom playing styles are drastically different, but also they don't really know each other very well as players. Exciting to see the Furious Blueberries as an up-and-coming team, Blueberries as an established club in the Auckland scene, on the national scene. Their sister team, the Fast Blueberries, was in the finals just now against Ellipsis for Div 1. So we know that this is a strong club, and it's great to see them nurturing up-and-coming young talent. So I'm stoked to see them here in the Division 2 Women's Finals. Really a testament to the development, the nurturing, the growth of the club. Meanwhile, Spring Chickens, as a much more veteran team. They've got players on this team who've represented Aotearoa, New Zealand on the world stage for decades at this point. A few of them could be playing in the Great Grandmasters division. And sprinkled in, they've got players with a bit more youth to them, sprightly legs to add energy and athleticism. But a lot of these players from Spring Chickens, they know each other so well. They've been playing, again, for decades. So such different play styles, such different strategies, such different skill sets coming together at this finals, and we'll see who comes out on top.
And I remember back during the first time I attended New Zealand Ultimate Championships 2 years ago, Spring Chickens did absolutely phenomenally in what was essentially the top division, the only division back there, and they finished third that year. They've really retained a lot of the players from that campaign. They're just a bit more veteran, bit less commitment to Frisbee. It's good to see them performing as well as they can in Div 2.
Now you're seeing the stoppage on the field right now is due to a tacoed disc. Tacoed implying that the Frisbee has been bent out of shape, it's been broken, so they need a new one to play with. Disc is on the field, and Berries are at it right away with some quick, slicey handler movement. We see Spring Chickens down in a cup that we've seen over the course of the weekend. A clamping down four-person cup. There's three on the mark there, and Sarah Kessins, number 6, gets the D. She's in position to cover the swing. The pressure results in a turnover.
Chang and Wood trying to link up, and they just couldn't do it. They were being forced consistently to go short and quickly in order to try and break through that, and just couldn't do it.
Macaulay assessing options, resetting to Horvath, and there is a pick on the field. Potentially That was the reason for the separation between Kessens and her defender. The turnover stands, and Spring Chickens calling to set on defense. We'll take another look at that menacing 4-person cup. Stolpe on the chase, as the puppy, as the bunny on the chase, with that 3-person wall behind her. Now what they're doing with that wall is they're adding a lot of pressure to the mark. So we've had varying conditions over the course of the weekend. Right now, the wind has picked up a little bit. It's blowing across the screen.
From your left to your right.
Slightly downfield, slightly diagonally. So the wall just adding pressure to the throws, forcing the throwers to put more throws up, making the downfield options just a bit harder to find. And when you're forcing more throws, you're increasing the likelihood of a mistake. You know, even with the cleanest throws, the cleanest catches, at some point, we all make mistakes.
And something to note is that these two teams have played early in matches, but the wind was a lot calmer back then, as it's actually dipped down briefly now. It's coming in little gusts and bursts, so they'll have to adapt to it in the next early 10 minutes of this game, and then they'll probably be used to it by then.
You know, one thing that's an exciting part of Ultimate Frisbee is that the conditions can really change the dynamics of the game, and two teams that have met each other beforehand can be playing completely different games due to the length of the tournament, changing conditions, the winds coming up or dying down, different types of defense to adapt to those different conditions. So who will win the game and what type of match we'll see is yet to be determined in the second point. Quite a few turnovers and changes in possession. As a result, I like to say, you know, there's 2 teams on the field, and the win as the pesky third, playing defense against whoever has the disc at the time.
Chang and Wood working well as a handler duo there, coming out to Yiteng Low. Looks back and finds Chang once again.
What a pass.
Oh, Kayla Wood just in the right position.
And Wood really helping out. She's a linchpin on the handler line here. Wood also providing probably a lot of mentorship on this team. She hails from Christchurch and has probably played with a lot of the ladies here on Spring Chickens. And supported to establish a development team within the Christchurch community, Nasty Women. So was coach captain of that team as well. Here, moving up to Auckland and playing with the Berries. Looks like hopefully just a cramp. Falling over. Oh, it was a foul on the field. So Wood establishing herself in the handler space here. Can't clean it up, but helping no doubt to continue that nurturing the development of women's ultimate here in Aotearoa in Auckland as well. Macaulay with the disc. And this is something I'm a bit surprised to see. Macaulay with a wealth of throws. She is such a powerhouse. Great run through D. McFadden. Also Spirit captain. Oh, sorry, she's a captain of the Blueberries. Thumbs up from Blueberries on the sideline, indicating that we are correct. I was mentioning Macaulay, that's number 8 for the Spring Chickens, who she's been a standout player here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. She's played for decades on the world stage, a formidable handler, and she is known for her forehand huck. We might get to see it today at some point with the pull. She pulls with the forehand, which is a bit unique. Usually players opting for the backhand. And forcing her forehand is allowing for her to put that up, put it where it needs to be on the field. So often, it's resulting in an assisted point. Now, what are we seeing here?
Both teams taking a timeout just to reassess. There's been a lot of drop disc, and a lot of, not necessarily adapting to the wind, but a lot of down discs.
And we're seeing Jax Boomer on the sideline. He is a pup that we see often here in Christchurch Ultimate. We saw Stolpe, she was on the chase before, and she is the proud mom of that beautiful pup. He's got a ball in mouth, no doubt trained to not chase after Frisbees and chew them up with his teeth. If he were, I'm sure he would be the best deep cutter in the game. Back to the field. So it's early days. Interesting to call a timeout so early on, but again, there have been a lot of possessions this point.
Just a lot of missed connections that weren't necessarily easy. Both sides have been bringing a lot of pressure on D, and they've been making it very difficult for the handlers to get effective passes through. There's been no real break in terms of the zone play of the Spring Chickens by the Blueberries, and the Spring Chickens haven't completed a lot of passes either. So both teams just taking time to settle down and just maybe readdress some of their plans coming forward.
You know, one thing that Spring Chickens have really relied on thus far, and what's gotten them to this point in the tournament, the finals, is their safe throws and catches despite the conditions, their familiarity, their trust for each other, and their ability and creativity on the field to see all the options. The thing that's going to break that down at the end of the day, what we're going to see, that's going to be the tide of Blueberries bringing the game for them, is those run-through Ds that we just saw from McFadden, number 30 for the Blueberries. She had that beautiful run-through D, putting pressure and intensity on the catch. Great decision off the bat, but it makes it a bit more difficult when you have those athletic plays running through and contesting every catch. So that's something that we'll see, you know, if Blueberries can maintain that pressure. It's something that we'll see convert the game for them. The disc goes up.
Stolpe downfield, grab.
And she is a proud mom to Jax Boomer, the pup. She is also a fearsome, deep look, a deep threat, reeling in the second point for Spring Chickens. You know, I was talking about Blueberries. One way I think that they could swing the game in this favor, one way that they could walk away with the gold medal, is if they continue that pressure on defense, knowing that they have the ability to contest every throw no matter how perfect it might be. The second thing is responding to this zone that I have a feeling Spring Chickens will continue to throw. How do you find space? How do you get through a cup like that? One chase, 3 people in the wall can be quite difficult. They'll need to find the key to crack it. Sorry, you find a key to unlock things, don't you? Maybe finding the hammer to crack it?
Some sort of chisel. An implement, no doubt. The Blueberries, Stephanie Franson out there is giving some advice. Not currently playing this weekend. Disc is up.
And we're seeing that relatively short pull as evidence of the upwind that they're throwing towards.
It gives time for Sehan Royal to immediately get on the disc.
My.
Just look at this
Chong.
pressure.
Oh! I love
Great
Chong's
follow-up.
inside out there, showing that the mark needs to be honest. She can break it around. She can break it to the inside. Great quick movement from Blueberries here. Beautiful connections. Oh, and bad luck with that catch.
Sweat Yi Tong
She had it in her hands.
just couldn't control it.
Slipped out. Franson walking up to the disc. She is such a great handler. An arsenal in her back pocket. She takes out weapon after weapon. That one finds the turf instead of the hands, and it's a turnover. What a look. The wind is going to pop that up. Players streak under it. And you may have heard Rachel Sione Royal commentating on the Div 1 women's final screen. She's here now showing her ability, not just speaking eloquently, but also with a disc in her hands. Despite the crowd, she takes to the skies to tear it down and put another point on the board for Spring Chickens. And one thing that's dangerous with discs like that, with throws like that, they pop up when the wind catches them and they hang. You see the crowd that develops underneath them. People sometimes call those a hospital pass or a hospital throw, and that's just because when there's so many bodies in the same place, when your eyes are in the sky and not on the other people, it can often result in injury. So I really like to see, regardless of whether that's a point or a turnover, every player coming down and having it be clean. No one even fell over.
Yeah, no, they all jumped straight up. They all made a decent contest for the disc, and no contact was had, which is always nice to see.
Great body awareness of all the players involved. Macaulay with the disc. We'll see if she launches one of those forehands I was talking about. I have a feeling she will. Meanwhile, Blueberries on defense. Offense. There's the defensive line for Spring Chickens, discussing what I'm sure will also be a zone that's been working so well for them. With that 4-person cup, there's that forehand pull. McFadden picking up.
Looking inside for an option, something to break this.
And a round throw.
What a take.
A bid.
What a take. And now the Luai. Back into Chang. Goes across to Ling.
Ling looking at options. Left-handed player.
Fadden over to Koch. Into Luai again.
She fakes deep, finding the safe option, Hugh with the disc. She goes over the top. The wind catches it, but it is a good decision.
Drops it perfectly to Chang, who launches. It sits up. It comes back. And Caitlin Wood. Oh.
Travel called on the throw. Great hand signals. Thank you, Blueberries, for communicating with us. That's Rachel Hugh. Appreciate that shout out.
It's a great bring down of a very, very floaty disc by Caitlin Wood. A quick dump off into, I believe, Luai. Then, did she catch her on disc? Is that what happened there?
Caitlin Wood taking to the skies there, though. It's a great example of how she earned her spot on the U23s team when she played with the mixed New Zealand U23s team. Consistently, she's a strong player in the air, as well as with her throws. It's a turnover, and Macaulay with a disc push pass, cleaned up by Kessens. Lenke surveying the field, finding Inglewood. Swinging to Sione Royal. Torn out of the sky by Lenke.
Great block.
Oh, and this is an example of the beautiful flowing offense, the safe throws, the trust on this team. Brown puts it a bit too far, out of reach, and it's a turnover. Wood capitalizes on the space. The cup hasn't set yet, so they get movement going. Blueberries are off to the races. Love to see them utilizing the full width of the field.
Fadden Hugh working well out there.
And there's a spot, we can see it right here. Sneaking out, good to see Wood filling that spot there. What a bid again.
Great
I
take.
feel like we're gonna be seeing more of those coming from Chang.
McFadden over to Luai.
She's attacking the disc there.
To Wood.
This is such great movement to see out of this developing club. I'm loving the safe throws, the beautiful catches, these athletic plays, and a well-earned point.
Koch just dumping off to Luai there. It was great quick movement. Wood maneuvering it down as well. All sorts of touches by all sorts of players.
Furious Blueberries on the board, bringing the score to 1-3.
However, if they have unlocked that defense, might turn around fairly quickly. Spring Chickens may have to adapt here.
They might do. At the same time, the wind is a wild card. That movement there was so impressive. I loved seeing those clean throws, clean catches, that athleticism again from Chang, keeping the disc alive. I love to see Blueberries out here. Spring Chickens have been reeling in the points, but Blueberries showing the reason they've made it to these finals, and they have begun that fight back. Such beautiful zone offense. I hope to see more of it, but again, until they score a few more points against the zone like that, I think it would be prudent, it wouldn't be a bad idea for Spring Chickens to continue with it just to see what happens.
They were working those short, simple passes incredibly well. And those 5 running up down the left flank here. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, all the way to the end.
And I think that's a great sign, obviously the throws and catches across the team, but also the continuation looks, that the entire team is still engaged, even with a zone when it seems to be just the handlers moving the disc. The entire team is making those continuation looks, which are critical in a zone. Once you've pushed it past, especially a 4-person cup like that, a chase with a wall, you know, it means there's fewer defenders downfield, but the players are engaged in trying to find that space still.
Horvath now. Free it in from the brick mark.
With low on the mark. Horvath finding Diekma under.
Cooper.
Cooper looking for rolls. And finding Franson.
Well held there. Diekma again.
Downfield, we're seeing a pearl of sorts. Diekma is running it. The rest of the downfield slightly staying out of the way and giving Diekma the space to run. Couldn't convert. Blueberries now on offense. There's person defense, match defense, and Blueberries are running away from it. Diekma, this is her point. She says, not today.
Danny made a great couple of runs there, but just couldn't link up that final pass.
Franson once again picking up the disc. And a classic vertical stack on offense, inside out. Chong goes for the D. I don't know if she got a hand on it, but, you know, got the positioning to see it to the ground.
Tierney again, looking for options. Looks like we've, a bit messy, but I think everyone's okay.
No call on the play there. And it's a turn, Horvath picking up. Petra Horvath with the disc in hand. Oh, and a bobble. Potentially Franson was thinking about the next throw before she saw it into her hands. Uncharacteristic, could have also been the wind. Horvath on the mark. Blueberries low with the disc.
Over to Sweet Yutong. Back to low, good take. Quick movement. We've converted back to a match though, from the looks of things.
Blueberries with the wind at their backs means downfield options will definitely be enticing. Love the give and goes here.
Well
Diekma looking for another turnover.
Well corralled by Liu there. Back to Tierney, who's puts in a lovely little shot. Great catch by Lowe. And the Blueberries coming back fast.
Doing what they need to do to get the points on the board. You know, they're whittling Ultimate down. You know, they're just finding those open players, making those throws and catches. They're keeping the hammer down, keeping it going, keeping that pressure high.
Look at the acceleration there from Tierney as she comes out to the flank. Beautiful forehand, a great take by Yana Marie Lowe. Another Spirit captain.
You know, while the Spring Chickens, they joke about their spring legs, they're joking about the experience they have and you know, the lack of youth as it's leaving their bodies. They're a formidable team. Their experience, their decision making, and their athleticism has led them into the finals. But similarly with Blueberries, the youth, the sprightliness, the energy they're bringing to the field. We can really see examples of that with that quick flowing movement that the entire Blueberries club is known for, leading them to score that point. One thing that we've seen a few of, and I've been really impressed to see some deep hucks from Furious Blueberries. Interestingly, deep hucks into the wind, which have popped them up. I'd like to see some of those downwind. So when the wind's at your back, it can push the disc down, but it also tends to carry it further. They've got a fast team, we know this, and we've seen players putting up hucks upwind, so we know they have the hucks. I'd like to see some of that downfield as well.
It's a good pull, gets a bit of a roll on.
Inglewood chasing it down. And Inglewood, she is an endurance athlete. It's awesome to see her, while this is the end of a long tournament, Inglewood staying deep, waiting for a deep look, and she, if anyone's not tired, I don't think it's, if anyone's tired, I was saying I don't think it's her. As an endurance athlete, she has some impressive experience running ultra marathons in outdoors, and it's great to see her here in the finals. Definitely a spring chicken if there is one. Chong with the disc. She'll be picking up on the corner of the end zone, and this is slightly the low side. An intimidating place to be picking up the disc as a handler. There's the pressure of the defense as well as the wind at your back. With the end zone behind you, there's also risk of throwing what might be a Callahan. Around disc, great decision to Wood. Continues that down the line, low.
Fadden back to Chang.
Love this movement.
Just can't connect to McFadden. Spring Chickens with an opportunity to create a quick score. It's up.
With the turn, Hannah's reading it, and she has scored bookends. Bookends being, of course, when you generate the D, she read where the disc was going to be and sees it into her hands to score the point. One more on the board for Spring Chickens. High fives all around. Let's see that one more time. As that's being set up, great reading, pressure with both those two Blueberries players running in, pressuring the disc.
Great positioning, especially as it falls away from her slightly late. Just be able to keep it in front of her at all times.
Exactly, Hennis not flustered by that incoming defensive pressure. And as you just said, Richard, great read as she sees it into her hands. And I think that's the mark of a good receiver. Not necessarily, as I've mentioned a few times, their ability to sky everyone, not necessarily their ability to send massive layouts, but their positioning on the disc, just guarding it with their body, always in position to bring it down until it does come down into their hands. Well done on Hennis.
Blueberries did absolutely fantastically with quick cuts and sharp runs last time they had the wind. Let's see how they adapt this time.
Spring Chickens on defense. Horvath with the pull as it goes up. Great upwind pull there. And Blueberries chasing it as it rolls around. Blueberries are off to the races.
Yana Marie low now.
A little bit of double cutting happening downfield, opening up options. Nonetheless, the disc is launched. The answer to what I was looking for. What a connection. Goes up again for the continuation, and this is the speed
Deborah Yee
that has brought the Blueberries into this final match. What a point. The energy, I love that. Just as I'd asked, with the wind at their backs, there's that deep look I was going for, curving around into the safe hands of Penelope Lim. Deborah Ye with the points. Apparently, they're on this team together playing women's, but also New Zealand splits its seasons into mixed and opens and women's. So oftentimes in other countries, in other parts of the world, you have to choose if you want to play mixed or women's or opens. Here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, there's one season for mixed. The second half of the year switches to women's and opens. Those two players, that connection, they play on the same mixed team, and so no doubt they've been working on that connection. They're familiar with each other. They're making that connection consistently in the mixed season as well. Great to see it transferring over to the women's finals.
Absolutely. Lee always knew that Ye was going to keep running for her. Just provided up an easy point.
Wood with the disc. She'll be pulling for the Blueberries. Her hand up indicates that she's ready. Interesting that she was holding that as if she was going to launch it inside out, which I wouldn't have loved to see. It would have given the underside of the disc to the face of the wind, which would have launched it out of bounds directly, but she released it inside out. Diekma with the disc.
Good pressure by Utenglo though.
Finding Inglewood. Inglewood faking, moving the mark around, finding Macaulay for the swing. Macaulay looking for that deep huck, her forehand, looking for Inglewood again. Blueberries knock it down.
Set up perfectly for Rain Santillan there.
Cooper walking down on the mark with McFadden picking up. And Blueberries are at it.
Julia Ling on disc, looking for options. Just
goes
into
up.
the wind. Great tag.
What a catch.
Utenglo
space.
moves it on perfectly for Rachel Hugh. Back across to Julia Ling. One more connection, and it's McFadden.
What a point, and one thing I wanted to comment on there, this great connection on this team. We've been talking about the throws that Spring Chickens have been spending decades to refine the experience under their belts. And Blueberries, of course, a team that has a bit less of that experience, less time spent throwing, especially in these windy conditions. They're getting off what they need to get off, and everything else they're making up in athleticism. Their ability to chase things down, as McFadden shows us in the end zone, lay out to reel in what's necessary. They just have a bigger window. They don't need those precision perfect throws when they have that beautiful athleticism to reel in whatever comes their way. Great point to the Blueberries.
You'll note there that everyone who was behind the disc was running and did not stop at any point. Always making another option downfield for the disc to be moved along, and that's how furious Blueberries are scoring these fast points.
Exactly, the energy, the intensity they're bringing to it, the whole team on the same page.
4-all, we're into a timeout. What do you reckon they're talking about?
Interestingly, it looks like, I think Blueberries called the timeout.
Did they?
I saw them
I thought it was Spring Chickens.
making the T with their hands. Maybe they were echoing, just echoing the communication, which we love to see in the commentator's booth. Here, when someone makes a call, it's helpful to have that echoed. So you know, you'll see it bouncing around the field. You see those hand signals. So with Spring Chickens, that would make a bit more sense to me, to be honest. We see them arms around each other, a team that knows each other, that trusts each other. And what they're trying to do now is put a damper on the role, on the energy that Blueberries are bringing to this game. So Spring Chickens started off strong. They started off the scoreboard, first 2 points of the game, and I think what they need to do is pressure the defense a bit more. We've seen at least one possession, we've seen a disc go up, I think, from Blueberries. That has been 50-50 in the air. It's been a high ball, and again, their athleticism reels it in. It's not an issue for them. But Spring Chickens, one thing they could be discussing is getting hungrier on defense to chase those down, to reel those in, knowing that they have an option. If it's a 50-50 disc, it could just as well be theirs. The second thing is discussing on offense just the connections they want to make, ensuring that the throw is safe, knowing that they've got a great swing options if it's not, but they want to avoid the run-through Ds, that defensive energy that Blueberries have been bringing to the field.
Some of the deeper throws just haven't gone where the offense wanted disc, essentially. Some of them were falling a bit due to the wind. It's tough to play in these conditions. Well, I'm holding down the gazebo above us as it is. But yeah, you just have to learn, adapt, and corral yourself to the conditions. Try and embrace them as best you can and try and play around it. If the easiest thing is the safe option, and you know that's going to go to hand, might be the better play.
We see Claire Gibson, another veteran player, helping to nurture this young talent on the line. She's played with Fast Blueberries, the Division I women's team before, and here she is helping to nurture the talent on this team. It's good to see her on this line, helping out and adding some depth to their roster as well. Spring Chickens with a great inside. Kessens reels it in. Backhand continuation to Inglewood. Hands to face, she let that one slip. Gibson picking up. Inside out, what a throw. Upfield, and here, once again, this is what I love to see from this team, what they're starting to show us. The cup is quick to get in place. Spring Chickens want to stop what Blueberries have put on the table.
Gibson now to Sweaty. Back to Gibson. Hand to the disc.
And that's exactly what you want to be doing in a wall. The worst thing that can happen to a wall is to be broken. Broken meaning the disc is coming through in between two players. It's not good when that happens. You want to have, again, a wall. Discs don't go through walls. They're stopped by walls, or they just don't go anywhere near them. So Cooper hitting that down. Kessens hits it high.
Great marking by Sweaty Tongue there.
Cleaned up by Mai.
And gets it back, plays it down the line. Great take by Penelope Leo. And Blueberries score once again.
What a great point. You know, this team, I'm really happy to see Blueberries finding their feet underneath them. Those first few points, I think they just needed to warm up a little bit. But great to see them back at it. They're fully running that offense the way they want it to be run. That quick movement, those great continuation looks. Great points of Blueberries.
And I think the pressure on defense was what caused the turn. Just the way they're trying to stop any disc coming out from the mark. It's been very impressive in the last couple of minutes especially.
The score now 4-all. Blueberries coming out on defense. Spring Chickens with the wind at their backs. An offensive line out there. Oh, and the score has been updated. My apologies, folks. The score is now 5-4 Spring Chickens.
Furious Blueberries 5-4 in the lead.
It's been a long day. Thank you for bearing with my mind. Great energy from the sideline, both from Spring Chickens as well as Blueberries.
Disc is up and we'll get a roll on.
Chong launches it downfield.
Runs out of bounds.
And this is a great place for the disc to be defensively. On the sideline, you have much less of the field to work with. Can they keep it inside out, looking for break? And Chong racing to hit it down, just ensuring that there's no offensive play made on it. We're seeing a transition zone now. Spring Chickens recognizing the potential challenge that the wind can have on these throws. Doesn't seem to phase Blueberries. Richard, as you were saying before, have they unlocked it?
Key is these quick passes between McFadden, Wood and Chong. So they work it down. However, it looks like a hand block there.
And love to see the sign on the sideline as well from Blueberries. Berries out here supporting Berries. That's the Div 1 women's team. Big Berry energy. Macaulay throws a forehand break. Not even the force can stop her. The disc is hit out of bounds by Louis.
She followed it all the way through there.
Wood retrieves the disc, bringing it back into the field of play. And she'll be throwing from the sideline. Diekma on the mark. Pop pass. And I reckon these crashes are the way that they're best breaking this zone. The quick movements. Great catch from Chong.
For Wood and Hugh on the outside there.
She
finds Wood quickly to Hugh.
The mark. Great fakes to move her mark to find that pass. Disc goes up. And PJ. That's Macaulay.
Just a little high of a Brittany Cock there.
Brown. Diekma. To Brown again. Not quite in bounds. Resets to Macaulay. Beautiful movement from Spring Chickens here. Stepping it up, finding the open players.
Great cut and great score.
Yeah, great score. Spring Chickens bringing back a bit of that energy. Love to see that movement, the continuations, the trust, the safe throws they've been putting up. Berries now with a chance on offense, the wind at their backs. We'll see if they throw up any more of those hucks that I was asking for. And if not, I've also been really enjoying those quick passes, those sharp passes we've seen between the players. Difficult, to set a mark, to play defense, to clamp down when it's, throw after throw. If the stall can't even get started, it's difficult to play defense and try to get a mark on your player when they throw it is, before they even establish a pivot.
I will say Spring Chickens brought back the defense that was working very well for them at the start of the game. Despite the fact that they changed away from it very quickly, it's definitely been the better of their two defenses so far. So they'll stick with it, I would think, for this point.
And the disc is live as Berries come down on offense.
Match.
We've got a junk defense now. Looks like Spring Chickens have switched it up. That is on person on the marks. We're seeing a bit of a saggy defense with the marks, though. They're standing off of their players. And then a diamond formation downfield.
Chong now cross to low. Looking for a final connection. Needs to bury it back.
Great give and go
Gibson
there.
To low. Back to Gibson. He's settling it down a bit.
And the call is they're still staying in zone, apologies. Handler marks there looking to contain the movements between Lowe and Gibson. They keep finding each other.
Tierney now is trying to quarterback the offense. Back to Tong, back to Gibson. Looking for an option.
Closer and closer to the end zone. They're on the gate now. Beautiful slicing passes between each of the players, regardless of the conditions. Chong, I love the patience too. They don't have that white line fever of the end zone. They're not firing anything that is not 100% option. Great to see them waiting and finding finally.
Napolitano there. Great cut to end that point.
What poise in that deep space. What patience. Swinging and waiting for those options to develop. In the meantime, Spring Chickens just keeping the pressure on. Not letting up, making every option difficult, especially downfield. It can be so difficult in a zone just to keep the focus going. And as soon as that cracks, as soon as there's one player that sneaks away out of eyesight, props to Napolitano for finding that. Oftentimes it's not the speed that does it. It is, it's being incognito for a second. It's the sneakiness. She just found that space where she needed to be in between those defensive players. No one watching her, and it was a safe catch in the end zone.
It's an awareness of the game. If you can get behind someone's back without them noticing you, without anyone on your team calling for you to take that player, then it can be a very easy breakaway and a very easy score.
Furious Blueberries up 6 points now to Spring Chickens 5. We've been seeing at this point a few points trading with the downwind as the wind picks up a little bit more. Again, wind blowing from the left side of the screen to the right. You can see the branches swaying in the wind. Of course, difficult to see. You've got to trust us and the throws with the disc. Energy from the sideline, supporting the team as they streak down the field on defense.
All that now.
What an active mark we're seeing on the disc. Not fussing Horvath slightly as she passes to Cooper, finding McCauley. And she wants that forehand huck. Holsters launches to Lenke coming under. Lenke faking deep, looking for Stolpe. Wood going for the D, she misses it, but that disc was making its way down to the turf anyway.
Great positioning to defend it regardless.
And this spot, my friends, down in the low side corner of the field, right on the end zone line. Again, a bit of an intimidating place to have the disc as a handler. We saw Chong pick it up before. She had no problem throwing the down line throw. Great pivot, she's stepping out. There's a high release and it's hanging. Cooper gets a hand on it and throws to Stolpe. However, there was a foul call on that. Furious Blueberries player explaining how she thought she had to play on the disc, where Cooper may have been in the way or drawn a foul. Let's see that one more time. So difficult to see there in between bodies. Difficult to see how Cooper may have hit that Blueberries player.
Just a shout out to Crystal Lenke, who forced that errant throw by boxing out Caitlin Wood.
And thanks for that, Richard. Oftentimes, of course, good ultimate Frisbee, it's not glorious. It's difficult to see. Oftentimes, shutdown defense or defensive pressure that can result in the turnover isn't always a massive layout D. It's just smart, strong Frisbee. That foul goes
Perfect
back
example. Crystal Lenke again with a Callahan. Oh, wow. That was
Frisbee
amazing.
players, friends and family, a Callahan in this game. As I mentioned, an intimidating place to have the disc on the end zone line. Lenke's experience, her disc awareness, her defensive tenacity.
2 flawless defensive plays by Lenke. That was amazing. And look at all the pressure that Spring Chickens have. They're guarding every option available, and Lenke just coming in from the side, anticipating where the throw is going to go.
You know what, Richard? I think she's so used to receiving that disc. She's so used to being the one that's looked to. She's such a glue player. She's dynamic in the handler space, the cutter space. She's a great deep option. And I think she's so used to just being thrown to. It's almost a switch in her mind as she's on defense, but that disc, it could be thrown right to her as she grabs it out of the sky in the end zone to score that Callahan. What a fun, what an exciting point to catch. One more on the board for Spring Chickens, tying it up. The score is now 6-all. And if you're curious, the game behind us is Ellipsis versus Wildcats. Ellipsis hailing from Australia, Wildcats from Wellington. It's the Opens final for the Division 1 championships. I'm excited to be here, though, for this women's final, Division 2. Wahinetoa out on the field.
Chong over to Liu now. Back to Chong. Across the Tong with a couple of 1-2s. Tierney now is trying to break through, and these short passes are doing it.
One thing that I like to hear.
There's Napolitano deep.
So now I think this is the turning point. I would say that cup, they've figured out a way through it. They've broken it open.
Well, yes and no, because one group can absolutely get through the cup and one group couldn't earlier on. So it's just about who's on the field at any one time.
And I think a good point with the wind. They had the wind at their back, makes it a little bit easier. I loved that step out, that pivot for that assist in the throw. What a beautiful throw it was to the end zone.
But if you can get those connections started, and a run does go on, it can be an easy deep threat, and where we see Napolitano run through. These short passes between Chong, Sweaty Tong, Tierney, Liu, then a deep throw to Napolitano. Glorious catch.
Hands in the air as she's celebrating. I love the hug. And interestingly, another thing I wanted to point out from the sideline, we heard players in the cup saying 3 meters, 3 meters. Great to hear. Spirit of the game being upheld, the awareness of the distance that players need to give the thrower, the person with the disc, to avoid double teaming. Double teaming is a call that the handlers can put up, and double teaming illegal. You're not allowed to do it here. Maybe in the AUDL over in North America, but not here with whiff diff rules in Aotearoa, New Zealand. And great to see them respecting that space, aware of that space, and opening up. The huck goes up. Franson with the disc, swinging to Cooper.
Cooper looking for a deep shot there. It's not on. Nice little push pass. And
Flick hook downfield. Brown was open there, but it didn't go quite as far as she needed it to do. Louis is nomming up the defensive plays here.
Playing excellent deep defense.
She's gotten turn after turn. She's the type of energetic athletic player that you want on defense, the heads-up defense. Here she is finding an open under changing direction, but that switch in direction is too much as she bobbles the disc. Brown with the open side cuts. She's looking for Franson, fighting to get open. And Stolpe making a look, but the safe swing, Franson finds herself. Oh, and a forehand! Inglewood chasing it down on the break side. And McCauley gives her a light applause from downfield. What a catch from Inglewood. What a look from Franson.
Look at the float on that disc. Perfectly placed.
And one thing I wanted to comment on, as a handler, oftentimes, especially in the end zone, if you put it into space in the end zone on the break side, if you're able to launch it to the break side of the field, your offense is already set up to run into that space. Of course, the downfield defenders on the open side of the field trying to stop open side options. So if you can break the mark and open up the break side of the field, it's easy for players. Here we see like Inglewood, such a great receiver, to run onto it and clean that up as a point. Stolpe giving a dance just behind the camera. And she's laughing there. She's stoked about the point celebration. And great to see that energy alive. Great to see that celebration, that dancing from the team. It was something we were seeing from Blueberries before the game as well. The club starting to get known for this. They're dancing before the game, singing along to hype songs so they can convert that into points on the field. The disc goes up and the wind picks up slightly, blows it out of bounds. Blueberries throwing with the wind for this offensive point. It looks like Spring Chickens are setting up their classic chase with a wall behind them. And Lenke sees that disc down. It sounds like someone may have stepped on it. They both look back. I can't imagine it's an issue. Horvath double checking as she picks up. And it sounds like it may have been tacoed.
Napolitano with a casual smirk.
And
apologizing to the crowd.
It was, the way it flew off field, it was wobbling. Horvath with the replacement disc. She finds Lenke.
And great D. Sweaty tongue.
Ping pong between different teams here. Blueberries on offense.
Chong out to low.
What great swinging movement. The cup is trying to prevent it. A misfire. I wanted that to be a catch. But they were off to the races right away. Looking to convert. We've got Spring Chickens in a vertical stack. Oh, what a breakthrow! Horvath firing with a low release. Almost too much energy on that for Hennis to bring in. So something that we didn't notice until before, the score tied now at 7-all. This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is a point to 15, sorry, a game to 15, which means that this is Galaxy points. Galaxy point meaning whoever scores this will be taking the first half of the game. And what a game it has been. High release to Kessens. Kessens firing to Rachel Sione Royale. Finding Horvath and defensive pressure there.
Oh, step, locked in step.
Looks like it's a foul, no contest. That means that Horvath is saying if there hadn't been contact, if there hadn't been a foul on that disc, she would have caught it. The players agree, and she's got it on offense. She launches it deep, and up-point hook! Lenke chasing it down, but the wind pushes it down as it fades. Too far for Spring Chickens to reel in.
Good effort by Diekma, backing up, trying to also get there as this got taken by the wind. Blueberries now trying to come out with low, across to Tierney. Just looking through a way through this cup. And once again, almost maybe a little bit too quickly.
I don't like this. They've been able to crack through it so many times, and they seem to be struggling with those middle shots.
It feels like they're just trying to get that pass out in anticipation a little bit too much.
Sione Royale
output.
Gently dropping the disc, reeling in the point. If Blueberries aren't able to hold on to it, if they're giving Spring Chickens those chances, Spring Chickens will take them, making the score 8-7 and bringing in halftime.
It's a great pass by Horvath.
Any closing thoughts for the first half, Richard?
What a great game.
What a
Galaxy
great
point. What a start.
It's a treat to have you guys here with us. We will be back shortly for the second half. Until then, we'll see you soon.
Right now, he's gonna have to bid. Just a football.
Huge layout block. Unbelievable stuff on the front corner of the end zone.
Maybe just that boost of energy they needed. Huge swing pass and a great grab there from Spear.
Kia ora koutou. And hello everyone, and welcome back to the second half of the finals of the Women's Division 2 section of the New Zealand Ultimate Championships 2023 held at Puna Sport Complex. We have had an exciting first half, and we've got Blueberries hailing from Auckland launching the disc down on defense. They're on white. To the receiving Spring Chickens hailing from Christchurch in teal with a slicing cut from Franson to Lanky to get the game started. Blueberries now with a chance on offense. Now, Richard, what have we seen in the first half and what are we looking for in the second here?
This cup has been a key feature of the Spring Chickens defense. And whenever they play that, they've generally done a pretty sterling job at keeping Blueberries out. However, once or twice, there's a break like this where the cup just starts getting caught behind the disc.
Unfortunate miscommunication, because I've been so impressed consistently with the cup like that Spring Chickens have been throwing. The Blueberries showing poise and chilly kind of nature and how they've been throwing these beautiful throws, slicing throws, finding their open players downfield to break the cup. Another unfortunate error from Spring Chickens. Blueberries will get another chance. Now, one thing that Blueberries have been doing so well is just, gotta say, the basics, throwing and catching. The entire team is showing ability in just finding the open players. Look at that pivot, inside out backhand, upfield. And also here, once again, displays of athleticism, just doing the basics so well, throwing and catching, finding the open players downfield. They've got speed and agility, so when the throws may move slightly too far, not quite on target, they've done such a good job of cleaning them up.
Spring Chickens just taking a moment to get their offense set, looking for maybe a set play out of this.
Franson throwing an inside-out pass, Lanky.
Ooh.
Seeing it into the end zone. There are echoes from Blueberries that she may have been on the line. Violation. So the call here that Lanky traveled into the end zone, it wasn't a point, so she's running it back out. And it looks like Blueberries there indicating Santian indicating that she wasn't ready for the play to be started. Scuba over the top to rolls in the end zone. What a way to start the first half of the apologies, we're here in the second half of the finals. Last game of a long weekend.
Spring Chickens getting off to a nice run of momentum at the start of the second half. Blueberries will be looking to continue that quick play that has gotten them through the cup every time. And when they have started connecting those passes and when people have been running on, forward, 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 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, those connections that keep rolling is generally where they score, and they score quickly when they do that.
They do. And one thing I've been really impressed with, again, with Blueberries on defense is their ability, I guess their pressure and their energy. When 50-50 discs do go up, chasing them down, really coming through and pressuring every one of those catches downfield. Doing a great job on defense.
They've been superb deep and they've been superb on the mark.
They have indeed. Spring Chickens, meanwhile, with their notorious beautifully clean throws and catches, They're long hawks slicing through the wind, despite these windy conditions, the wind coming kind of diagonally from the left side of the screen to the right, from the far side of the screen forward, making in the first half the close right corner a dangerous place to be. Lanky scoring a Callahan when the disc popped up.
Oh, Leo just putting it a little bit too high there for Yana Marie Lowe. But a perfect example of that quick movement. Once it gets going, it's hard to stop.
It is hard to stop that momentum. Diekma reading where the disc was going to be, though, and jumping into the air to knock it out. We've got Horvath picking up for Spring Chickens.
Oh,
That's what I was just talking about, my friends. that defensive energy, every catch is contested.
Whopper effort from Penelope Liu. Comes out now, sweat your tongue. Looking
for
inside.
options. She's pointing it inside out through. Diekma wanted that additional defensive play, couldn't get there.
Penelope
Break
Liu
throw.
looking for low.
Will she be in bounds?
Oh, that's a tight one.
Players on the field, it's up to them to decide what happened. They're engaging the sideline right away who may have had better perspective. Players huddling around the commentating booth, keen to also see the replay.
Penelope Liu.
A game for you guys who are watching live. Was it in or was it out?
Nice throw into space. Oh, perfect block.
And the players on the field agree it was out of bounds. Great spirit there. Horvath picking up with the disc once more. Vertical stack from the Spring Chickens. Horvath launches it deep.
Oh, it's great defensive effort by Sweet Your Tongue again.
Yeah, so that's what we're seeing. You know, oftentimes it's really sad to see when a team kind of gets in their own head when they lighten the energy.
Tierney with a great little put. Back to Deborah Ye.
But
Goes
here,
now to Penelope Liu. Looking for an option into the end zone. Finds Tierney. Tierney goes straight ahead. Easy catch.
and difficult to mark and prevent that. You know, when there is, you know, such quick movement, when you're still in the end, in a zone, in the end zone, it's difficult to find, you know, where the players might be going, where those dangerous options are. I was just saying, when teams get in their own heads, when they slow down a little bit, that can lead to them, you know, falling some points behind. Here, Blueberries instead stepping up on defense.
Watch Deborah Ye in space there. She finds a space and she just sits there. Disc comes straight into her. Perfect play.
Beautiful point to Blueberries. Again, they've been turning up the pressure on defense. They've been generating those turnovers. You know, earlier Spring Chickens were finding the open players and Blueberries, you know, like rushing to keep up with their players and stop the movement. But here we've seen for both of those possessions, Blueberries instead generating the turnovers. They're going for the defensive play with every throw. And then converting like that, beautiful to see that point scored. Spring Chickens will need to respond, ensuring that every disc they put up is clean, it's to a safe option, and that there is separation between the offensive and defensive players.
Stephanie Franzen giving some final words of advice to a team. Disc to come in.
Chong, she's shown herself to be a formidable player athletically, with the hucks, with the throws, streaking downfield. She's the first one down there, and she threw up the huck. It's rare to see that. She's out here, though, looking for another point. They'll need to get the turnover first. Difficult to do with the disc in the hands of people like Brown, Franson, open up the break side of the field to Lenke. And what a beautiful throw! Brown can't reel it in as Lenke fires it deep on the break side. An unfortunate bobble gives Blueberries another chance.
Luai was covering Brown excellently on that entire play. Probably may have just gone into the mine just a little bit, applying pressure from behind.
And oftentimes, again, you don't need to make that defensive play. Just applying the defensive pressure can be enough to generate the turnover, something Blueberries are definitely doing. That hard cup in. Sione Royal in the position she needs to be. Passing to Stolpe for the points.
And it's all about that first pass to try and get through the cup for the Blueberries. Generally, if they find one or two passes immediately, they go excellently and they run away with it. This time, just no options available. McFadden tries to hammer across, sees the free player in Yiteng Low, but it's just corralled by the defense, and a quick score for Spring Chickens.
Fantastic vision there from Sione Royal, just predicting where the disc was going to be. She got herself in position, and also we like to say in Ultimate Frisbee, catch your Ds. She really took that to heart. The reason for that, of course, is if you hit it, if you knock it, it still gives the offense a chance to make a play on the disc. Sione Royal catching it in her hands, not giving them that option. Another thing you can do, of course, is hit it to the ground. Here we are on camera. We're used to being behind it. Richard and I'm Kelsey, commentators, hopefully providing a good overview of the game. Let's cut back to the field. Thanks. Shout out, of course, we mentioned this in the first half, to ULTI.TV for putting in the hard mahi behind the scenes to make it all happen, putting in the good work.
And shout out to all the volunteers who've got these lovely gazebos set up so that we can be free of wind and noise. Lovely times.
We've got Blueberries. Gibson with her hand up indicating she's ready. Blueberries to come out firing on offense. Horvath launches the disc downfield. Diekma leading the charge as Spring Chickens set up another clamp down of a cup.
And
Blueberries.
Tierney's been one of the excellent people in breaking this cup. Back to Chong, across to Sweat Yi Tong. Just looking for those quick passes. Now a big swing out. Hoping for the defense to readjust. Tierney now looking for options. Cross comes Yana Marie Lowe, back into Tierney, back out to Tong.
These players, these Blueberries players showing us such depth, such talent. You know, we've seen breakout team Misfits from Auckland really coming on to the team, the season as one of the top women's clubs, breaking out and carving their way. Really great to see Blueberries, the Div 2 team here making their mark similarly, coming out as relatively young players, but showing a depth of experience, of poise with the disc, of energy, regardless.
Yana Marie Lowe almost got caught directing traffic there. Nearly missed the disc, and another reset to Gibson.
And while it went high in the air, she had plenty of time to take it down, reads the disc and sees it into her hands. Chong with the disc.
As those swings, they're gain the cup to maneuver and reassess. That's when Blueberries have to move.
Patience right now from the offense. They're not forcing options that aren't there.
A little too low into the wind by Chong. The wind now coming a bit more from the top of your screen to the bottom, and just catching that and pushing it down the disc there.
Can be tricky, of course, in a variety of ways, the wind. If you throw it with a nose up, the wind can pop that up and make it hang, as we've discussed hospital throws, hospital discs in the past. However, that one pushing it down to the ground. Blueberries with another chance, they launch it deep! And the disc sails out of bounds. A great opportunity. I love the quick transition. You know, also the sign of a well-drilled team, that they've turned the disc on defense and are setting up immediately on offense, already looking for that deep hook.
It was the right move to get in front of that cup being formed.
Horvath responding similarly.
Just over Yana Marie Lowe.
And there's a bit of contact.
I think it was Sweat Yi Tong coming in from behind.
Props to Brown for that catch under pressure. Hope she's okay. It looks like her knee got a knock. She'll shake it off.
Apologies all around.
Good spirit under pressure. Tapping the disc in. Swinging to Inglewood. Inglewood assessing options. Finding Brown again. Brown wants an open side cut. She's waiting for it to open up. Lanky cuts strike. Brown looking for her. And the hand on the disc, was that off the mark there?
She looked like it was about to go into the breadbasket, just didn't get herself into positioning. Fast moving now from the Blueberries.
Again, great defensive pressure, now converting immediately to offense.
Yana Marie Lowe just can't connect with Debrier there.
Lanky. Swinging upfield to Brown. Finding Kessens. But a lot of separation there. To Horvath. Hammer! Downfield crosswind, finding Diekma in the end zone. What a catch!
Superb hammer. Caught the wind excellently. Well corralled. Good catch.
And you know, hammers, they sometimes get a bad rep in Ultimate Frisbee, especially in the finals. You want to be sure when you're throwing them. That is because they can sometimes come out wrong. They're slightly more difficult to catch when the disc is upside down. However, Diekma showing us that that is not the case for her. And also a smarter decision when the wind's at your back. When you're throwing downwind, hammers can catch that. They fly just a bit prettier in the wind. And Spring Chickens add that point to the board, a point with style. Hammer style.
The option was also there because for the first time in some time, the run on defense wouldn't have been available to prevent that hammer from being thrown. Closest player was about 2 meters behind. Great play or no?
The score now, 11-8. Spring Chickens in the lead.
Come away with a 3-1 lead this half. Will they be able to keep that momentum up?
And one thing I'm enjoying is increasing numbers of fans as they migrate over here from other games. We've got a lot of presence from Auckland, from the Div 1 team, the Blueberries team, supporting the players on the field. Players from Zodiac, another women's club team in Auckland, supporting the game, keen to see how it's playing out, who's coming out on top. Sione Royale establishing herself again in the wall, predicting where the disc is going to be, and hitting it down to the ground. She didn't catch that one. As I was saying before, catch your Ds. She hit it down safe, out of the way. No one was going to clean that up. Franson finding Stolpe. And continuing, unfortunately, the disc finds the ground, and it's a turnover.
Shane to bring us back in. They've really struggled coming out from these deep flanks right at the edge of their own end zone. We saw the Callahan, of course, earlier. Caitlin Wood now, back across to McFadden.
Oh, sees it to the ground. Spring
Rachel.
Chickens now with a chance to convert. One thing they were struggling with in that last possession was options downfield. Again, the defensive pressure from Blueberries that they've been keeping up, making it difficult for players to get open in the end zone. And there's a pit call that will result in a turnover. A great inside-out look to that break space, which Spring Chickens have been punishing in the end zone.
Spring Chickens have been taking a lot more time, especially on those turns, walking to the disc and getting everything set up, just so they can do that sort of maneuver they attempted to there.
A sign of experience, respect for the players downfield as they find the right option.
Shane to Wood. Wood looking for a couple of 1-2s. Oh, that was a close one.
And she keeps the disc alive.
Taken. Chang now as they come back.
What a treat watching these two play.
Now Hugh looking for an option back inside.
Big around throw sweeping over the defense.
What a layout.
Again.
What a layout.
This team is showing us option after option. They are a walking, nay, a running highlight reel.
Yiteng low now, looking for an option back inside. Caitlin Wood directing traffic and gets the disc. Back to Hugh.
So much pressure from this cup, and Blueberries just finding their way around it right now.
Looking for options. Just staying on this flank for now. They want to get it back inside and potentially move it forward. Just sneaking inside the cup every now and again, just to get an easy pass across.
And either it's seeming they have options down the line in front or options around. Difficult for the mark to be taking all of that away.
Caleb Wood now looking to come back inside, finds McFadden. Creating another option there, short is Yiteng low. Just getting inside that cup continuously. Back out to Wood.
Again, what great precision, poise, these throws, athleticism with these catches.
These swings are really working well.
Oh, launches it deep. The wind turning it into a blade.
Oh, it was a great hole, but heavy contact there. Yiteng low holds on to it and finish off the point. Getting it into Luai.
With the point, my friends, what a point it was to watch.
It was a phenomenal sequence of events there. Blueberries, hard, fast layouts through the cup, out, swinging out to the right side, swinging out to the left side, forward again, heavy contact, goal. Good Lord, what a point.
And we're seeing the energy that we're feeling echoed on the field. Fans are running on, even looking for a high five from the players themselves. Everyone's streaking to the field to celebrate that point. I think the athleticism displayed in that point.
Tracks it for about 15 meters and then takes it. And looking at Rachel Hugh here, another fantastic dive and grab.
The commitment to keeping the disc alive, and Louis just opening up the field with that hug.
Heating low through the contact, holds on. Great effort there.
Initiating the contact, I think, on offense, but all good, keeps it alive. What a step out. And it looks like there may have been a hand on that. But they managed to convert nonetheless. What a great point.
11-9 now. This is going to be a close one.
Chickens still slightly in the lead, but Blueberries again with that energy, carving out the way for themselves as well. Laser of a pole as it floats downfield. The wind, of course, can do that with backhands.
Napolitano sprinting down, trying to create some pressure.
Horvath looking for options and launching it deep, showing her depth as a player.
Oh,
Digma looking for the cleanup there. Can't reel it in. Lenke on the mark. Beautiful quick passes. Again, lots of open players on defense.
it's like we're back to a junk now. We're back to a match. Tierney now looking inside.
Disc floats up. Chong
well done.
backing up her players there.
If the disc is in the air, it's always available. Deep shot for Napolitano, just can't reel it in.
You know, sometimes with teams, you're watching them and you wonder, you know, the missed shots, you know, the missed catches, you see them playing, you just, you know, and that's where they start to crumble, they start to fall apart, as they just can't seem to connect as a team. Here watching Blueberries, you know, I'm wondering if it's possible for them to not, you know, catch the throws that go up. The team is there with each other, they're supporting each other. And there's a call on the field, stoppage of play. Looks like play will continue.
Travel retracted is an official call from sideline commentator Caitlin Wood right here. Thank you, Caitlin.
Again, at this point, I feel like how can they not be making these catches?
Oh, what a throw by Gibson. What a catch. Was that held onto? Oh,
on
so
the ground,
close.
Unfortunately, she was so close there. Horvath picking up. And the wind picking up as well. She's in a tricky situation. She's indicating she wants the undercut. Tricky to throw it quite that far in these conditions. Beautiful look to Lenke, Englewood. And we're seeing a few of these Spring Chickens players wanting that deep option. Again, difficult with the wind gusting just as it does now. Pop pass to Lenke. Oh, Lenke's classic high release backhand, but it goes to the ground. Too soon for Kessens to scoop it up. Gibson approaching the disc, giving them another chance on offense.
Tierney now.
She's done such a good job in the midfield as a glue player, really consistently providing options. Starting downfield, you know, with the patience of a handler, easily melding in, we see now, into that handler space.
Chong now looking for an option downfield.
Inside out.
Oh, great catch by Penelope Liu there.
Yeah, a few extra
Tracks
yards.
it down. And Tierney running across and scores.
Blueberries has picked up the momentum. Second point in a row for them. Again, we're seeing fans, friends and players alike flood the field looking for a high five. Spirits are high.
So
Spring Chickens walking down, you know, this point again though, they have the wind at their back, a huge advantage.
I'll tell you what, the one thing that these Div 2 finals have had is tremendous amounts of momentum. Once one team gets going, one team generally stays going for some time until it switches back heavily. Great work by the Blueberries, retaking a bit of it back.
And it looks like there's been, yep, a timeout call. Spring Chickens have called a timeout. They've seen those 2 points in a row, and they want to discuss how to combat that. 2 points in a row, they want to put a stop to it. As I just said, though, for this point, they will be starting off with the wind at their back. They will be on offense, playing downfield. So they do have that advantage. An additional boost to all the throws they're putting up, making it just a little bit easier to throw those hucks. Meanwhile, Blueberries in the huddle. Hopefully, I'm sure they're hoping that this stoppage won't slow them down in the slightest. Discussing how to keep that going. Those throws and catches, I think at this point it'll be difficult to stop them. Again, how can they not catch the disc? Their throws are so clean to each other. They're finding the open spaces everywhere, and they're putting so much pressure on all the offensive looks that Spring Chickens are having. It's making it much more difficult for them to find the options. Players like Horvath, Franson, finding the options anyway. Lanky opening up the field, but making it look just a bit more difficult for them to do that.
It's great to see the support on display. Blueberries supporting their own team.
Again, Blueberries, that's the Div 1 team. Fast Blueberries, just coming off of a final versus Ellipsis from Australia. Here over at this field, keen to support the club, uplift the club, no doubt stoked to see their counterparts, their sister team, in the finals of the Div 2 championships. You may be able to hear tournament organizer Richard Fernando in the background as he's talking over the loudspeaker. Big shout out, I know we've mentioned ULTI.TV, but to the volunteers, to Richard Fernando for helping to put this together. He's managed to find time to organize the tournament and also play with Christchurch Club team Dogma over the course of the weekend. An impressive feat. The timeout has broken. Blueberries on defense on the low side of the field, where Chung has the disc in hand and will launch it down. Spring Chickens ready to come out on offense. I've mentioned a few times this is an experienced team, it's a deep team. And even with pressure on, they know how to keep that mental toughness, that resilience going, to create options, to push through, keep the foot on the gas pedal. Sione Royal with a bid, keeping the disc alive. Looking for Horvath as she dances around, finds the dishy. Looking for options, outside and forehand to the break side of the field, and it goes too far for Cooper to catch. The turnover now sits with Wood as she approaches the disc to pick up, initiating the handling for the Blueberries.
We see this defensive cup forming from Spring Chickens. All they need is a couple passes, Blueberries, to break it. See if they can maneuver around. It's like Yiteng low. Cross now is just not being able to be corralled there by Gibson. Spring Chickens back on O.
You hate to see that bobble. Unsurprising, the wind is acting, providing that additional jerkiness, that squilliness on every throw. But those bobbles just so hard to see. They say if you can touch a disc, you can catch it. Sione Royal shows us how it's done with a great defensive play. Can't hit it down, though. Blueberries catching it in the end zone.
And another slow walk into a turn near the offensive line for them to score.
What a point that was for Sione Royal. That layout catch for the undercut, keeping the disc alive as Stolpe launched it to her, and they're in the end zone as well, scoring the points. Let's see that one more time.
She's been absolute presence on both defense and offense. She's been excellent in that cup.
I also want to comment on the throw. Franson has shown us her ability not only to break a mark with an inside out, finding the break side of the field, but also from a run around. And as a mark, as a defensive player, it's a bit scary, honestly, to match up against. Obviously, you don't want to get broken. Being 50% of the defense, you just have to stop the disc from going one side of the field. But Franson, if she's throwing the inside, you want to pinch around and put on a flat mark to stop those. But if you do that, she's showing that she has, of course, the rounds as well. She will put the disc wherever you are giving her the option, making her a challenging player to play defense against, to fully shut down as a mark. And she'll keep doing that. Again, we've seen time and time again Spring Chickens capitalizing on the break side of the field, putting it into space, making it easier for the offense to just take a few steps over and run onto it. We'll see if they continue that. They've got an upwind point now. The disc goes up and Blueberries streaking down the field to initiate their offense.
Sweaty Tong working well with Winnie Chong there.
Oh, bit of
back
contact.
inside Diane-Marie low and outside the Chong. They're just quickly maneuvering it downfield, looking for an option. Can't find one, but we're getting a swing to the outside. Tierney will look to move it back inside.
Taking to the knees with style, securing it in the breadbasket.
One more should do it, and there it is.
What a point!
Great score by the Blueberries. When they get on top of this cup, they're generally excellent. They will generally score points. They just need to break it that first couple of passes.
Almost you can predict with those first couple of passes, if they're coming off, that they're going to turn that into a point. One thing I want to comment on consistently, we're seeing the composure, those beautiful connections, the throws of a team that is so much more, so many more years of experience under the belt. These players showing us playing as if they have been playing for decades almost, with the connections, the chilliness, just finding the right options, and their poise with the disc.
And Chong finding the right option there, and Liu. Great little parlay from the Blueberries as they make it one step closer. I do believe soft cap went off in the background, so it could well be a game to 13.
What an exciting matchup. If it is to 13, it is well within reach for any team, and I sincerely hope it is not the wind that's deciding that. It's picked up a bit, and we're starting to see teams consistently scoring on the right side of your screen, and the end zone down there. It is, we've confirmed, game to 13. Soft cap did go on.
Grandstand finish.
Franson
Sidelines are packed with people.
finding Tikma. She's faking, engaging the around, finding Franson. She sends it across the field, finding Stolpe. Wood is
Caitlin
under
Wood.
it. Not in my house, says Caitlin Wood.
What a superb defensive play. You saw it holding up in the wind, timed her run excellently, got the hand up, smacked it down.
Spring Chickens once again trying to capitalize on the break side of the field, and so much more challenging when you're on defense. Getting to the opposite side, getting to the break side of your defender. Caitlin Wood not giving up though, getting to where she needs to be. Blueberries on offense.
Trying an early switch to the flanks, didn't work out this time. Connection Luai didn't come off.
Horvath picking up. Forehand, Mrs. Lenky, Mrs. Sione Royal, and that pressure from Blueberries results in another turnover.
Another great defensive play by Blueberries. They've been doing it all day, those rundown defensive shots. But this is the danger zone. This is where Lenky got the Callahan earlier on today. Quick short passes. Sweaty Tong now.
Great step out, great pivot there. Up over the top, Lenky reading that and getting the D. Again, a bit easier for Spring Chickens at this point with the wind at their back.
They're definitely going to set up, try for one final play. This is what they want to end on.
Spring Chickens in their end zone.
And it's a great defensive strike. Blueberries putting a dagger into the heart, and now a deep huck.
She's looking for Luai.
Oh, good effort. Doesn't come off.
She was ready to fully send to bring that disc in. Horvath with the defensive play.
Oh, it was a great effort too.
Unclear where the disc is going. So that will stand as a turnover. Franson picking up on the sideline.
Luai playing excellent defensive pressure on the mark as she's done all day.
Launches it downfield looking for Sione Royal. Hand
it's
on
tipped.
the disc.
It's tipped. McFadden got a hand and then Sweetie Tong got a hand.
Looks like Sione
Turnover.
Royal was considering a foul. She said never mind. It didn't impact the play. It wasn't there.
Tong to
with the
Luai.
catch. Oh, and the call
In or
there is
out.
out of bounds.
She got a hollow disc, but I think landed out of bounds there.
Agrees. Franson picks up. Can you feel over the live stream the energy that's picked up and gets lucky this time?
What
Maybe
a
lucky is
finishing strike.
the wrong word. That was the hammer pounding away, waiting for the shot to go down in the end zone, but that's Stolpe with
Caleb Wood and Erica Chang with a great defensive effort. The Blueberries, defense on that play was pretty stunning. They did great effort on the mark there by Luai. And it's a nice throw in by Franson, a deep throw at that. And it looks like Wood and Chang thought it would just sit and come down and they would be able to corral it inside. Not to be.
But it's points like that, the finals of the national championships, where it's exciting to see, exciting to be a player, given the opportunity to step up. With that pressure on, seeing players like Luai at the end, stepping up her play, bringing the pressure that really helps growth as a player. It's exciting to see. Massive props to both teams for leaving it all out on the field.
Absolutely. Congratulations to your winners here today, your Spring Chickens 13. Commiserations to the Furious Blueberries 11. It's a fantastically fought final. Great way to wind out our time here at Ngā Sports Fields.
My name is Kelsey Bielik.
And I'm Richard Harris.
Thanks again.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member
and fund our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate.